Oh, hi, Stephanie. How are you?
Hi,
Okay, Dale,
Dale.
I'll leave you to your interview. Enjoy.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Yeah, I spelled it with a PH. So, great to have you here. You can share your screen if you'd like.
Okay, hold on a second. Show my screen. Let me
There
just.
you go. It's up there.
Showing the wrong one though. Hold on a
Okay.
minute.
Okay.
Below the show screen button, there is a little arrow. If you press it, you can change the screen that you're sharing. You will get a pop-up with all your available screens, and you can change it.
Oh, there we. Oh, yep, that's it. Perfect.
So, Stephanie, I've seen all the promotions for your new book all over television. I thought maybe it was the same person, but after I went to your website and took a look at a few things, I realized that it was the same person. Well, really a pleasure to meet you, and I'm interested in your work because all technicians believe volume precedes price. What I'm really interested in is your journey to getting to where you are, because I know I'm a betting man, a speculator, that you didn't start looking at dark pools when you started. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got involved in the industry and business?
Well, how much you want to put on that bet, Dale?
Okay, one tip. It'll be like trading places, and we'll do a Duke brother bet. $1 that you knew about dark pools at the beginning of your career.
Yes, I actually did. It's crazy.
Oh wow!
I'm 24 years old.
Oh my goodness! So, who introduced you to that at the start of your career? Were you just trading on your own? And
no. Nope. Okay. I actually went to college for psychology, and after 4 years, I had a decision to make. Should I go get my master's, or should I enter the real world and try to get a job? And I had so many student loans, I really had to get a job. So I got a job. Actually, I got really lucky. I went to happy hour with my girlfriend, and that's really how I landed a job. It's crazy. I knew nothing about trading. My best friend Dahlia got a job as a receptionist at Schoenfeld Securities, which is the largest prop firm in New York, especially at the time in 1994.
Okay.
And she got invited to happy hour with all the guys that make millions of dollars. And she didn't want to be the only female, so she calls me up and she's like, "Hey, Steph, you want to come to happy hour?" I was like, "Well, not really." "Well, these guys are coming, they make millions of dollars. They're really cool. You're going to really love them." And I was like, "Well, maybe I'll go." "All right." You twisted my arm. And so I went and I just started talking. They were the nicest guys. You would never think in a million years, that these guys made all this money. And so one of them said, "Hey, I need an assistant. I made $1 million this year, but I must have left $100,000 on the table because I just couldn't keep track of my size positions." At the end of the day, you'd realize, I'm still short, 1,000 shares of Microsoft, or I'm still long. And I said, "Well, I need a job." And he said, "Can you start Monday?" And I said, "Yeah, I can start Monday." And they sat me in front on Monday of an Instinet machine. That was my first experience in trading, and that's a dark pool system. That is how I learned how to trade, by seeing the dark pool. I don't think it gets better than that.
Wow. You know what, how much, could I use the Yiddish word "sorus" people go through before they, are led in the right direction, and how much capital they burn through with the charlatans out there promising that they have the secret. And you were very, you had an angel looking out for you that day, and what a great happy hour. And let me ask you this. Did they remind you kind of like of the star in Billions, X?
Yes, I went to high school with him, first of all.
Okay.
The guy that he portrays, it's based on...
Oh, I didn't even know that, because I know the actor is English, and he comes in with a, kind of an East Coast...
Steve Cohen. Yeah.
Okay.
The story's loosely based on that, which is, there must be something in the water. of where I
Yeah.
grew up. Long Island. So yeah.
All right. Well, what a great story. And so, you know, another point that sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And you definitely broke the ice with professionals. So tell us what you learned about dark pools then. And I'm sure that over the years, you've had some type of refined it for the people that you teach and for your own trading and for your rooms. Tell us about the evolution, about how you, first of all, let's start with, some people have heard the word. What are dark pools? I know the advantage is that people don't have to report the trade for 24 days. So it's kind of like the guys on the floor when I was at the Merc would do their big positions upstairs and then walk on the floor. So no one really knew until they went into open outcry what they were doing. So tell us about dark pools.
Yeah, sure. It's just an alternative exchange where the big guys do all their trades. I mean, these are the guys that are moving the market. I don't listen to the news. I have it on mute all day. I'm an old-fashioned tape reader.
Okay.
And what's amazing is, so back then in the 90s, you had to belong to a very big, powerful firm to get access to the dark pool. The Internet machine was very, very expensive. And again, I was very lucky to get that job sitting in front of it and doing all the orders for my entire table. Now, it's available for everybody.
All right, let me ask you, Steph, was that the same thing as people that called themselves SOES bandits?
Yes, SOES bandits. Yes,
Okay.
Small order execution system. You can see my screen right now. The software I'm using, DOS Trader Pro.
Okay.
Yeah, this is very similar to what I started on, being an old-fashioned SOES bandit, they called us.
Okay.
And it's great. One click. It was very easy to buy and sell. Although I did start out, I had a clerk at the other side of the table who was doing all our orders. But we could also, yeah, and now it's so easy. I mean, you just open up a trading account these days and you can just start trading, right? I think that's why a lot of people lose money in the market, because they have no idea what they're doing. They haven't been trained by successful people. They just open an account and start trading. But the good news is we have access to the dark pool. It's free. I don't sell it. I just teach people how to trade using it. But the INET, the NASDAQ book viewer, you can see this book right here.
Yeah.
On the SPY. Yeah. Instinet, NASDAQ took over Instinet. So I use two books, the INET and the ARCA book. And that pretty much shows me where all the big guys are hiding on various stocks. Let me just see if I can find Goldman Sachs. I look and see where Goldman Sachs is hiding. He's not on here. But I go down through stocks.
How do you know the firm?
It'll say GSCO.
Okay.
Yeah, originally, you know, all we used to do is follow Goldman Sachs. That was our big secret. If he had a huge offer, we weren't going to buy the stock. If he had a huge bid, we would buy the stock. You just follow him. He got smart. He started hiding his orders in Island, which was the first ECN book. He hid his orders on the Instinet, the dark pool exchange. He hid his orders in all these books. He became anonymous. And now we don't even have any market makers on the level 2. I mean, it's all books. Everybody's anonymous. Nobody really has to make a market anymore. That's the scary part. That's why
let me ask you that. Is that because of decimalization, or the fact that the floors are now bowling alleys and there just isn't as hardly any human beings involved?
You know, I don't know the exact reason why, but it's scary, because if the market starts to turn down, these guys just disappear. There's no liquidity. You know, that's why we have a flash crash.
Right.
So
the market structure, it's easy to open an account, but if there's ever a time where you need someone to make a market, they're not there anymore, and that's what people are talking about when they talk about fragility of market structure, correct? Exactly.
Very, very fragile. And so, you know, you got to be very careful. You have to really know what you're doing. You know, just most people out there have no clue. They're guessing, they're hoping, they're not really watching the tape. They're not seeing where the big guys are buying, where they're selling. You know, over the past, 6 years, I've called 13 out of 13 market corrections before they've happened. I'm 13 for 13. And so people think I'm psychic and all these things. And I just follow a dark pool pattern, which is really not difficult. Once you know what it looks like, anybody can do it.
You getting any messages now for
yes.
either?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I'm going to show you. Is recently we've had very heavy dark pool prints, and this is this yellow sticky pad on my desktop for you with the levels. Yeah, we've had really heavy prints, and it's been a while since December 26th. We had late dark pool. I call them buy prints. These are trades that were done yesterday and not reported until today, and they get around that by crossing their trade from their London desk with their New York desk. And when they do that, they don't have to report these trades. And we see them every day, but they're not very heavy. But once they start to get really heavy, that's when we have a very big move in the market. And recently in March, you see I put the dates down here, these late trades on the SPY started coming in. The biggest one is 278.54. So let me just pull up my SPY chart. I put a notification out yesterday.
That's selling that you're picking
I don't know
there?
yet. Again, I'm not going to guess.
Okay.
However, I will go very short if we close below 278.54 on the SPY.
Okay.
We went there yesterday, but we did not close below it. You know, there's a lot of noise during the day. We have to close weak below it. I'd actually prefer a close below 278.
Okay.
So that's where I draw the line in the sand.
Okay. So and you'll wait for a daily close, even if you have to. You don't get the edge and you have to chase the break. You'd rather wait for the confirmation than try and get an edge.
Yeah, I mean, I have protection on. You can buy really cheap. I trade options. You can buy really cheap out of the money puts just to have just in case.
Yeah.
But as far as going into a full-fledged position, yeah, you want to wait. You don't want to put yourself into the trade. You know, that's when it gets psychological, right? And so you really want these levels. If this guy is selling at 278.54, then we should be below it. We should be making lower lows. But we're not right now, not yet.
Right, right.
So that's
you're
just
like a market detective, Steph.
Yeah.
You're a private investigator, you know, looking at what's happening behind the curtain.
Exactly.
And really interesting. So let me ask you this: do you scalp? Do you position trades? It sounds if you call corrections that you're, you know, kind of a position swing trader. Am I defining you correctly?
Yeah, I do everything. So I'm a day trading bandit. Yeah, I'm sitting here all day. I'm watching the tape. So I'll scalp, you know, 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents or more, depending on what I'm trading just during the day. Or I mostly like to do overnight swing momentum trading at the end of the day, getting in, and in the morning getting out. But I also do seasonality, longer term trading, and longer term portfolio trading. So I really do everything.
Okay, you know what? I was just thinking about this. You said once you're in, that's when it gets scary, because that's when people's emotions begin to really get in their way. I mean, it may be dark pools may give you messages, and I don't care what kind of method you use, most of it is in your head. So let me ask you, if your background in psychology, which you probably are applying, at least for yourself and teaching others, what type of psychology is important? I teach that if you're saying to yourself before you click your mouse, I hope this one works, that you need to shut down your platform. I believe that you do your work, you have your contingencies and reasons, and then you say, okay, Mr. Market, I've done my work, prove me wrong, like a warrior. What do you teach your people?
Okay, so 90% of trading is psychology. 90%. You know, there are people that go from system to system to system, and they don't realize, like, why isn't this working? You know, and it's because they're not disciplined. They're not following the system. And I always say, you know, if you break your rules, you're teaching yourself not to trust yourself. It's awful.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's awful. I like to take the other side of the trade, you know, empathy. You know, if people are short, you know, where's that spot that's just going to just break them, where they just, you know, throw the flag in the air and cover. You know, the short squeeze, you know, that's.
Well, let me ask you. Oh, go ahead. Well, you know, my handle is Forex Stop Hunter, and from my days on the floor and as a runner, Stephanie, that's how I started. I noticed how brokers were very interested if the order had STP at the end of it. And everyone knew where the stops were. I mean, people ask me now, Dale, how do you know where the stops are? And I go, well, you know, it's easy. If you were short, where would you put your buy stop? That's where everyone's is. So, do you look for those situations like floor traders used to, where you know where there's liquidity on buy and sell stops and trade into them, and then use that liquidity to either cover or reverse or take the other side?
Only if there's a print. So I'm never going to go against the trend unless I see the dark pool selling. We see them every time. That's my number one rule. Don't try to peg the top. Don't try to peg the bottom. But don't trade in the middle of the day either. You know, that's when we always say, the big guys go out for lunch. We call them the Armanis, right? The suits go out for lunch, and they leave the minions, right, in charge. And the job of the minions is to stop everybody out that they can. So they whip it up, whip it down, whip it up, whip it down, stop. It's like the Armanis come back and they're like, yeah, we stopped out 1,000 people, you know.
Let me ask you, you ever go to lunch with these guys? Because I have just one story I have to tell that is hilarious. When I was a runner, I worked at the Merc, and you know, Chicago in the wintertime, it's pretty cold, right? Like it is in New York. And like, you know, we'd go out for breakfast. So anyway, these guys would have, you know, 5-figure equity swings, and we could have just gone down to Union Station and not braved the cold and had breakfast. But instead, we'd walk 3.5, 4 blocks in 0 degrees to Lou Mitchell's because they had a breakfast special. Because and then when the check came, we needed a CPA to divide the check. So you know, they were having $40,000-$50,000 swings before they went for breakfast. But it's real money when you're buying a meal. Can you believe that? It's a true story. I'm not making it up. So anyway.
Well, I don't leave my desk. I eat lunch at my desk because that's when the dark pool shows their hand. Because these guys are out for lunch. And we see the biggest prints that move the market during lunch. So I don't leave ever.
What are the exact hours? Like 1 o'clock
11
Eastern?
o'clock Eastern, They start coming in, and I know because I usually get my lunch, right? I work from home. I have a home office. I run, get my lunch, bring it back here, and I'm trying to eat. And they're just coming in the prints left and right, left and right. And so I have a dark pool app, and I'm always sending, like, you know, notifications on these big prints, and I map out the trades, and I can't even eat my lunch. It's that heavy during lunch. And these are the trades you want to pay attention to, not the ones that are market on close. Those big orders you see at the end of the day have no bias. It's just the trades right in the middle. They don't think anybody's watching. And, you know, we see insider trading. I've seen trades on fear before the Brussels terrorist attack. Massive trades on TVIX. Have you heard of TVIX? TVIX?
Yes, I lost a fortune in it. Don't
trade that. It just
you could trade it. Well, you could trade it, but don't hold it.
No, but that's the problem. You know, people trade it, it works out great, and then they trade it again, and it closes below, but you don't get out, and the next day it just dumps. I know.
Oh, you must have read my book. Anyway, Steph, you teach people, right? You're mentoring people, and
I do. I run a live trading room. I trade live and teach people.
Do you have people start off with demo accounts, or teach them, you know, I have a song, use less leverage? For someone starting off, what do you recommend they do before they go live?
Sure. Well, I have a program where they have to go through my intense class called boot camp. It's 2 weeks. You have to be trained first before you come into my room. My room is not a beginner room, and I have to personally train you. And it's day trading, overnight trading, longer term trading. And then I tell them to paper trade. Okay? Make sure you have the system down and you're doing everything right. Now, there is money and emotions that comes into play when you're trading with real money. So once you switch over, small, start with, 1 or 2 contracts if you're doing options. I always say if you can make money on 2 contracts, you can make money on 10, you can make money on 15, 20, but there does become a point where you feel uncomfortable, your share size, and it doesn't matter how much money you have. It's just that spot where you just don't trade properly, and then you move down to where you were before that, and that's usually your perfect spot.
Okay, yes, to your sleep level where you're okay going to sleep and you're not up all night watching the action overseas. Any other I'm assuming that you only trade equities, because is there any dark pool action in any other instruments besides equities and indexes?
Yes, well, there is. I watch the dark pool on stocks, but I do trade options 95% of the time. But we do get dark pool activity on the dollar, and I know you guys are really into Forex. We do get dark pool, so we pretty much know where the dollar is going, although I'll tell you, my traders in my room, they don't trade Forex. Most of us just trade options, but we trade gold. And of course, gold, knowing where the dollar is going is very helpful with gold.
Except, have you noticed recently the big rally we had in gold happened with a stable to strong dollar, which is kind of unusual?
That happens when the dark pool comes in. Gold and the dollar will go up at the same time. I've seen it a few times.
Why? What are they doing?
It's so strong because it's when there's so there's 2 reasons why people buy gold. There's the reason that the dollar's, going down, so safety.
A dollar hedge,
Right, dollar hedge. Or they're just really buying gold. China's coming in and buying gold, and Russia's coming in and buying gold. It's going to go up no matter what. And I've had arguments over the years with fundamentalists where I've said, well, gold is going up.
People.
IAU. You have to watch the stock IAU, iShares Gold Trust. The dark pool loves it. Every time we've had huge trades on it, we've had a big move.
More than GLD?
We do get prints on GLD and GDX, but it's IAU. They're massive and they're unusual.
Great tip. I'm writing it down because I have old timers.
I don't trade it though. It's slow. I like GDX. I've been trading that for the past couple months.
Okay, so you actually, instead of trading the gold contract, you trade GDX using IAU as your tell.
Yeah, but I agree with the guy you just had on, Stylionis. Said that 1320 level. And that's really, really key right now. I'm watching that as well.
Okay, well, I really enjoyed meeting you, Stefanie, and like it or not, you're now my Trading Warrior sister.
Oh.
So welcome to my Trading Warrior family.
Awesome.
And this would be a good time for you to show your website.
I don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that?
I didn't come here to sell anything. I just came to meet you. To meet you, talk to you. I mean, you can get my book, Dark Pool Secrets. It's on CNBC.
You ever go skinny dipping in your dark pool?
I'm not telling. Okay? Why do you think my webcam's not on today? That's all I gotta say.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And people could follow you on Twitter at Volume Princess, not Princess.
That was Larry Berman. Yeah, he did that.
That's a great handle, Stefanie. I wish you continued success for you and all that you teach and your message. And really, it's fantastic to have somebody helping lead people that, are genuine and want to learn how to be a trader like you were blessed with your first break, and that you're paying it forward. So
it's great to give back.
Yeah. Awesome. Let me ask you this. I get as much pleasure, sometimes even more, from seeing people I teach do well than my own account.
Oh yeah, they do better than me.
Yeah, you found that out too, that the students become the
I
teachers?
love it. Oh, I've had guys over the years, yeah, make a lot more money. And you know what? It's awesome. That's priceless. Seriously,
Yeah.
I've done very well. I'm not complaining, but it is priceless when you see one of your students really take it to the next level.
Yeah, I'm with you. Stefanie Kammerman, thank you so much for your time. Really enjoyed our conversation, and
Thank you,
maybe
Dale.
we could do it down the line, and please keep in touch. All right, Stefanie.
Take care, Dale.
You too. All right, everyone, that's our Turnaround Tuesday. You're welcome, Alina. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. We'll be back here tomorrow. You're very welcome, and thank you again, Stefanie. Adios.